Good afternoon, everybody. Uneducated economist here. Thought I'd talk a little bit about an email I just recently received. I had a young man contact me a while back asking to talk a little bit about the economy so that he could kind of better understand where it is that he needs to put his money. And so I agreed. I said, yeah, no problem, man. I'll have a conversation with you. And so we had a telephone call. And as I get to talking to him, I said, everybody has different goals and ideas on what it is that they want in their life. Why don't you just kind of tell me about your situation, what's going on, and we can just kind of talk and see what it is that, maybe I could do to help clarify some situations, because I'm not a financial advisor. I mean, I don't know what it is that you need to do with your money. And so we just kind of get to talking, and as we're talking, it kind of sounds to me as he was speaking that it wasn't so much that he was looking for a place to put his money as much as it is that he had a hard time understanding what it is that he was supposed to do in general, just as a human, you know? And a lot of times that's what ends up happening is that we end up in this world and we're not exactly sure what it is that we're supposed to do with ourselves. We go every day to work and we work hard there and, try to make an effort to do better and, get more so we could advance ourselves. But really, we find ourselves like not really doing anything that really motivates us or drives us, right? That passion, so to speak. And so we look for it in answers to like money. Like if we had more money, we would be happier. Or if I didn't have this particular job or had a different job, I would be happier. Or like I'd feel more successful at what I'm doing. And this starts to occur in a way that says that the things that I'm doing are incorrect, right? And that I need to do something different, which is true, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the things you're doing are incorrect. It might just mean that you're looking at it incorrectly. And that if you had different meaning behind it, that it might be what it is that you are looking for might be right in front of you the entire time. It's just that the meaning that you've been putting behind it is what's keeping you from advancing in a way that you feel is appropriate. It might be that you have a job that doesn't pay you very well. And you might want to blame your boss for it, saying, yeah, if my boss and took more of his profits and shared them, then, I would have a better life and I wouldn't feel so down and depressed. Right? So you take this idea and you blame it on an external, right? You say, that's my problem, is out there. And if that was fixed, I would be better, right? But the problem with that is that once you have fixed that, you will find the next problem on why you're not happy, right? And you'll keep finding problems in the world on why you're not happy. And this will be the problems that you have on a regular basis. See, if you looked inside and said, okay, the meaning behind this is, right, this job is stressful, this job doesn't pay enough. The meaning behind this is that I need to elevate myself into another position. Or I need to find, another way of doing things. Right? Because if you take it and say my life is wrong because of them, then you'll never take the ambition within yourself to say I need to motivate myself up out of this and move onward. Right? And I think that's probably the situation that most people would find in just about anything they do. Even if it's, within their own relationship, if they put the meaning behind it is like, I have no other choice because this person means so much to me. If that's kind of the thing that they are saying to themselves, like I'm not a complete person without this other person here, right? And so you put all this energy and time and effort and thought into this other person, and if they leave, you feel completely devastated by it. Like I'm no longer a complete person, and that without them in my life, how is it that I'm supposed to ever move forward? Right? These are the type of things that end up coming up within our lives. We find it maybe with our parents or something like that. We're so attached to our parents, and one day, one of them passes away. And we think, how is it that we're ever going to get through this world without my parent, you know? And other people, they don't ever talk to their parents, you know, like they don't have any attachment to their parents whatsoever. And that's like another devastating thing, because that's probably due to a safety reason that they have put within themselves due to some childhood trauma that they had experienced, right? Where they maybe couldn't trust their parents, you know, for whatever reason. You know, maybe they just weren't there, you know, emotionally. Maybe they abused them physically. Maybe there was, you know, other kind of trauma that, you know, had it to the point that they just like, hey, I need to exclude these people out of our lives. Well, a lot of times, because this is a subconscious behavior that was built from childhood, we end up excluding a lot of things out of our lives that we feel that we need to do in order to protect ourselves, right? And a lot of times we don't realize that when we do this, we are actually denying opportunities for ourselves in a way that we didn't even realize was there. Like, you ever hear about some people saying, man, they're just so lucky, right? It's not necessarily that they're lucky, it's just that they have conducted themselves in a way that opens up opportunity in many directions. And so lots of opportunity comes to them. Where other people who have built up all these safety nets to say, hey, I need to protect myself, they deny opportunities coming to them for that safety reason. You know, these type of things occur a lot. You know? And so as we kind of understand these things and we think to ourselves, man, you know, if I wasn't necessarily trying to do things in a way that was to protect an outcome, right? Because I have this particular outcome in mind. If I didn't conduct my life in that way, then what outcomes would occur, right? Because if we get in such a position in which that, no, I need to have this particular job that pays me this much money, and if I don't have that, my life is over, right? If we have that sort of attitude, then we will not see the opportunities that come from other places, because we will be so focused in on, no, this is the necessity right here, and there's nothing else that's going to be available, right? And that's the type of thing that we do to ourselves when we put these expectations out there. You know, even I myself with the YouTube channel, you know, I found it that I need to put out a video every day. And sometimes I put out a video, and a few days later I'm thinking to myself, you know, it was just like, did you really have was that really a video that came from within that you really felt like you needed to put out there? Or were you just trying to add content? Because you had kind of made this commitment that you want to put out a video every single day. Why are you so hung up on this expectation of getting a video out every single day? Can you let that go? And so occasionally I do. I say, today's not the day. I'm not feeling the video today, and if I was putting one out, it would be forced. And I don't want to force videos. I want them to naturally flow out. And so this is one of the things that I had to recognize within myself. It was just like, yes, you are a YouTuber. Yes, you do put out daily videos. No, you don't have to do that, right? And today may be a day that you don't do that. Right? You know, when you make that commitment to certain things, and then you just adamantly live by it without any other, like, you know, change in mind, you almost limit yourself. I mean, yeah, you can really open up the world to opportunity when you commit to certain things, but you can also put it to the point that you also limit yourself in other things. Okay? Like, just for example, just trying to do the YouTube channel every single day, putting out a video, I may be trying to work on a video when I should be spending time with family. Okay? Or I might be putting out a video or attempting to put out a video when I should be making contacts or sending out emails instead. But I'm so focused in, it was like, no, I got to get the video out today, right? I'm so committed to this. But if you can let all that go and then open up to the opportunities of what the universe has to offer, then you'll start seeing that really the better opportunities, the flow of abundance will start to show up, especially if you're trying to provide something useful to the world. And this is how, like, if you have this thought and awareness as you're moving forward, that, man, I don't need a better relationship. I might need to be out of the relationship that I'm in, right? Or I might need to get, find a different job that I'm in. But if that's the case, that's a good thing. It's not a bad thing, right? Like, you got to remember, like, everything out there in the world, every event, everything that ever happened to you is a neutral thing that happened. It's just the meaning that you give it, right? Like, if you get fired from a job, for example, that might be the universe saying, dude, you need to move on to a better job, right? And this is your opportunity to do it. If you were occupied with this job, you would not see the opportunity that is coming to you because you would be focused in on this thing. So being fired is the universe might be saying to you, move on, let go, move on, opportunity awaits. Right? But if you give it the meaning that them jerks, this is the reason why this happened. That person is, needs to pay. This is, the negative energy that I'm going to start flowing towards this stuff. Then you're not going to find the positive opportunities that come from it. But if you look at it saying, whoa, man, that hurt. Being like rejected in such fashions, it was just like, man, that hurts hard. But I'm okay with this. Right? I mean, it's sad. I'm going to have to feel it for a little while, and understand that, man, that's like, a hurtful thing that happened to me. But it's not something that I'm going to say is going to control my life, right? It's not going to say, hey, this is the way that, I live my life from now on as this person who was fired from this job. It's not. It's the person who says, hey, I'm no longer at that place anymore, and I'm moving on to better opportunities now. I'm going to find them out there because the world is wide open now. That's the type of attitude that you give meaning to on everything that happens, no matter what it is. I was listening to I don't know, it was like an old story or something like that. One of those, kind of cliche things that you hear all the time, or something. And it said that all things happen for good, right? And it was a story of karma, right, so to speak, and not necessarily like as far as karma, but the energy that comes from anything that you do. I think that's probably more of the understanding of it. See, if you think about like all things that are happening, even the bad things, can turn into good things. I think about like how it is that I lost my house into foreclosure, and the position that I was in, and the things that I was feeling, and the negative, all the stuff that was happening. If all that didn't occur the way that it did, I may never have started like researching the economy. I may never have gotten to the level of starting the Uneducated Economist. Like, I believe that it was going through that foreclosure and the devastation of all that is what gave me the position to where I am today, right? If I didn't experience that, I wouldn't have been able to experience this. Right? So all things, even bad things, happen for good. And now this story, the way it goes down is has to do with like a king and like a preacher that he had with him, like one of his priests, right? And the king one day is talking with his priest, and his priest tells him, hey, all things happen for good. Well, the king hears this, and as he's like messing around with one of his swords, he drops the sword and knocks one of his toes off, right? So now this king doesn't have a toe, and the priest says to him, he says, well, all things happen for good, right? And the king is like, what's up with that? It's just like, I just knocked my toe off here with this sword, and you're going to tell me that's a good thing? Throws him in jail. Like, right, get in this prison. I am sick of this. So he sends his priest off to prison. One day he's off there and he's hunting with the soldiers, right? So he's riding horseback, he's chasing this deer, and gets lost from his soldiers as he's chasing this deer down. Well, he gets thrown from the horse. It gets collected up by this native tribe. And now they're going to sacrifice him to their god. And as they go to prepare this king for the sacrifice, they realize that he's missing a toe. And they're like, whoa, we can't use you. You're not a complete human. Right? So they let him go. They're like, hey, get out of here, man. We can't use you for sacrificial purposes. You're not complete. Get out of here. So the king finds his way back to his kingdom, Goes and pulls the priest out of prison. He says, man, you wouldn't believe the story, right? Says, I was out hunting, lost got lost from the rest of the guys, got caught up by these natives, and they were going to sacrifice me, but they said because I was missing a toe, they wasn't going to sacrifice me. Man, you were right. Like, that bad thing that happened to me actually turned out to benefit me later on in life. Man, how is it that, me throwing you in prison was a good thing for you? Like, if you say all things happen for good, how is that a benefit for you? You've been in prison for years, right? And he says to the guy, says to the king, he says, well, I'm by your side all the time. And if we were out hunting, I would have been by your side as we were chasing down that deer. And I would have been caught too. And because I'm a complete human, I would have been sacrificed. But because you had me in prison, I'm able to live to this day. Because all things happen for good. And now I think about that a lot, because all the traumatic events or all the devastating events or all the bad things that I ever feel that have ever happened to me were lessons in life that brought me to where I am today. And today I feel so much better about life than I ever have before. Like, every day feels like it's going to be a better, new adventure, something, like every day is a new experience. And that's the way you want to live life, as if every day is a new experience. It doesn't matter how much money you have. If you have this expectation that you want a bunch of money, guess what? It's going to be difficult to get it, right? But if you have an expectation that it doesn't matter how much money I have, right? I'm just going to live my life as if it's, a new day for me and full of opportunities and adventure. Those are the type of things that you'll find, right? It's not a matter about being careless, right? I mean, you got to be careful in what you do, the people that you interact with and the positions that you take and the deals that you do. But letting go is probably one of the most freeing things that you could ever do. And letting go of having a bunch of money or being in a better position or having a better relationship or any of that stuff, if you let go of all those things, right, and realize that everything is the meaning that you give it, right, is like so profoundly changing to your life. It'll make everything different, and how to figure that out. Like, a lot of people, they'll look at this video and go like, dude, you are so nuts, man. I have no idea what you're talking about, right? That's the deal, right? I mean, that's like one of my issues that I had for the longest time, is that I didn't understand when people would talk like this. I had no clue of what it is that they were trying to say, right? But then again, I started realizing that I had a lot of external expectations out there, right? I would get very upset if people didn't behave in a certain way, right? Or I would not understand what it was that would trigger me, like why things would trigger me. Like, all of a sudden I would be upset by something that would happen, and I wonder why that, later on I'd be like, why did that upset me? Like, why did I, flip out on that thing? And then I realized it was just like, oh, that's left over from childhood trauma stuff. That's why, right? And once you become aware of that, well, the next time it happens, it doesn't trigger you so much, and you're able to deal with it in a lot more mature fashion. So, because really that's what it's about, right? Is a lack of maturity. It's your inner child coming out to throw a temper tantrum. It's amazing letting go. What can happen out there? You let go of the idea that, people are going to laugh and joke about you when you put out videos on the internet. When you let go of how much money it is that you really need to be happy. When you let go of all the expectations that you have of what other people are supposed to be like or behave like. Once you let go of all that stuff, man, it's amazing the abundance that starts flowing towards you, right? The abundance of opportunity, the abundance of, good times, the abundance of, like, everything. Everything starts to come to you. The universe opens up. Uneducated economists, you let me know.